What is up, everybody, to the nations worldwide? This is the Travel Couple Podcast, where we introduce you to couple travelers who offer their advice on how you can travel the world together while earning money, living that digital nomad lifestyle. We're your hosts, Mike Pletz and
Natalie.
Tune in every Wednesday as we interview couples living a digital nomad lifestyle, traveling the world while earning an income, and get relationship advice about being on the road with your significant other, and listen how others are struggling and thriving in their personal and business lives while traveling the world. This is your one-stop podcast for travel, relationship, and business goals. We have launched our Travel Couple Book Club, so be sure to check that out at travelcouplepodcast.com to join the list. On our blog, we'll be focusing on how you can take actions to save for your next trip. We'll provide actionable advice on how you can save money on all of your purchases each and every day and put money away. Follow along at tothenationsworldwide.com/blog. This month, we are diving into becoming a digital nomad by creating your own business or even finding remote work. If this interests you, then you'll want to tune in every Wednesday to catch the next episode of this podcast. And in today's episode, we talk with Dan and Rebecca. They are digital nomads living in Bali. We talk with them about finding a digital nomad job, living the lifestyle in Bali, and how traveling has affected their lives. So without wasting any more of your time, here's our interview with Dan and Rebecca. Today we are joined by Dan and Rebecca. Dan is an Australian, Rebecca from the UK, who met on the road and work to lead a travel lifestyle. Hello, Dan and Rebecca. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Mike. How you going?
So glad you guys took the time to be with me here today. Let's just get started by getting to know a little bit more about yourselves and what you do.
So, do you want to go first?
Are you saying to me? No. Well, you say, okay. Look, so I'm Dan. I'm from Australia. I've been traveling for nearly 2 years now. So I actually go back to Australia for the first time in 2 years in about 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
We're sitting in Bali right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to know that, but yeah, we're in Bali in Indonesia. I've been to 30-something countries. I dabble in photography and I draw, and I just started teaching English online. But before that, I was just saving some money in the UK and working in bars and hospitality and that sort of thing. And before that, I worked as a travel agent and a hotel liaison in Australia.
Perfect.
And that's me.
Great introduction.
Cool. What do you got?
And then Rebecca, how about you?
Yeah, I'm Rebecca, and I'm from just outside of Manchester in the UK. I've been traveling for maybe 2-3 years. I first moved to Australia about 1920, and since then just haven't really looked back, just gone from destination to destination. In the final year of my degree, I managed to get some freelance work, and that meant that instead of going home and doing the 9 till 5 thing, I was like, all right, I'll just do this freelance thing and travel for a while. So
it sounded like you just said I moved to Australia in 1920 when you meant I was 1920.
Okay, yeah. No, in 1920.
Yeah. You're like 100 years old.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Awesome. And then how did you guys meet? Let's go through that story.
Well, Beck doesn't look on it as fondly as I do, but we met in Colombia about a year ago. And in a backpackers in Medellin. Beck was meant to be doing a nomad work.
So
thing.
Yeah, for reference, for the past 2 years, I've actually been hosting these co-working retreats, and we were due to host one in Medellin and we cancelled it last minute, but I still had my flight there. So I was like, well, I'll go anyway and hang out with some friends that I've got there. And then saw this guy with this huge beard and a hat, and I was like, hi, and he ignored me a few times, but then
I did not. She makes it out so bad. But the first time, no, we said hello on the stairs and that was about it. But yeah, no, and I was just backpacking at the time.
Yeah.
I was just backpacking at the time, and then we just met. And she was traveling with she was there and knew 2 friends, and I was traveling with 2 friends, one American and one Spanish at the time. And the 6 of us just hung out and got on like a house on fire, and then Beck and I just continued hanging out a bit more.
Yeah.
So we've been together a year now, nearly. Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Wow, congratulations. Nice.
Thanks.
And then you guys are continuing to travel the world and see more places. So
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
want to ask, yeah, I just want to ask you this question to start off the next part of our interview. It's a simple 2-word question, but for so many couples out there, it's got such a complex response. Why travel?
My usual answer is why not?
Good answer.
For me, it's just a matter of I just want to see as much as I can see and do as much as I can do. And I'll worry about the other things that everyone else worries about now later. But I'd rather travel now while I'm young and I'm able, my body's working and my mind's working, and then I'll sort of knuckle down and settle down when I'm ready. But there's things I want to see and things I want to do, and I just want to see as much and do as much as I can. And as long as I'm happy, then I'm winning at life, I think. And that's it for me, really. And I just get a lot of happiness out of the freedom of it all. And yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Just-
Do you
Yeah.
have a similar answer? How about you?
No, not really, actually. I think you learn the most when you travel, like beyond anything else, beyond uni, beyond any of these courses, like kind of online. You learn far more when you're kind of in an uncomfortable surrounding that's not the one that you're used to at home, and to be able to do that almost on a continuous level, like. Well, you can do what we're doing at the moment, live somewhere for a few months, and you really get to know the nuances and you learn so much about the little things. But on like a real simple level, you go to a new city and it's like, wow, this is what it's
You
like.
learn a lot about yourself too. Hey, it's not just about
Absolutely,
destination.
yeah.
It's about like you learn about who you are as a person and what you hold valuable. And
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
it's good.
yeah, so many like new influences that otherwise you might not have, and then you're like, oh yeah, that is really important to me. Like,
yeah.
Definitely. So, where were the two of you last? Where are you right now? And where are you traveling to next?
So we are actually in Canggu in Bali, which is like near the south, well, kind of south of Bali. It's a bit of a surfers town. And our kind of last destination was the UK. We were hanging out there for a few months just between travel. It was kind of my hometown. My hometown is on a farm outside of Manchester. I'm not from a city at all, and so
It was great. I was like living
Yeah.
with her mum on a farm
Yeah.
while
Yeah.
Beck was flying to and from work in the USA for a little
Yeah.
while there.
Yeah.
And then we go to Australia, as I said, in a couple of weeks for the first time in for 2 years for me. So just go home, say hello to mum. Just for 3 weeks in Australia, and then we're hopefully going to go settle down in Portugal for a good 6 months in Lisbon, and just
Oh, nice.
chill out there before on the next thing. Yeah,
Awesome.
it's good.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Bali right now. If there's somebody going to Bali, what do they need to check out?
Oh man, depends what they're into. If they're coming to Bali because, well, the normal reason is like, yoga and kind of getting holistic.
And it's
I
cheap.
find. Oh yeah, that as well.
It's
Yeah,
a cheap
it's
place
cheap.
to like live and stay. So there's lots of like surf towns, like Canggu Surf. Ubud is like another town which is all
Ubud's like inland in the center. It's very like, it's surrounded by forests and rice fields. There's Uluwatu, which is really cool. That's a little less developed perhaps than where we are right now in Canggu. Canggu is like growing like crazy. That's what people should know if they're coming to Bali. But
Yeah.
like Bali is
it's really
developing,
awesome,
like,
but it's
yeah.
it's moving so quickly. If people come here in like 2 years' time, it'll be a completely different place.
absolutely.
It's
yeah.
still awesome. It's still really beautiful. But Bali's just not big enough for how many people come stay here like us and put our foot down, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. But it's a beautiful place, but definitely worth checking out. It's hot. It's bloody hot here all the time, but
Great.
she loves it. I can't stand it. Give me a cold destination anytime. That's why I liked Canada when I was there.
And there's
Well, Canada's nice and cold right now, so
So how cold is it there at the moment?
it's actually starting to warm up. So we're looking at about 5 degrees Celsius.
Wow.
I love that that's starting to warm up. That's good. No, that fits the mold.
Yeah, for sure. And then what's the temperature like in Bali right now?
30.
It's around 30 average in the daytime. Right now it's at night, so I think it's maybe more.
Okay.
25.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hot.
But no, it's. it's beautiful weather for people. Yeah.
Sorry, it was just cutting out a little bit there. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, can hear you again. Yeah, it just cut out there. Don't know what that was about.
Oh yeah, okay, we're back here. Okay, so Bali to me has this feel that that's where a lot of digital nomads go. Can you explain why that might be?
So to begin with, again, it goes back to the very affordable cost of living. A lot of nomads do want to keep their living costs a little bit down just because of, geo arbitrage. If they're earning in perhaps like a more Western country like Canada, like the UK, Australia, it certainly makes your money go pretty far. And then the other reason people are coming here is because there are already people here. Being able to go straight into that community is like, it's a really nice feeling because, you can just go and out and you can expect to meet people who are on the same page as you, who are traveling.
For example, we went to a party at a co-living place last night. So, and then we met other people from other co-living places. And then we're going to another party tomorrow night at another co-living place that's got people from other co-living places. So it's like the community for like digital nomads, location independence is insane and perfect.
And it's very strong.
Yeah, and it breeds a real creative culture and
Nice.
That entrepreneur like get-go move life. Yeah, it's really good. And then add into that too, you got the beach right there and you got yogis and mountains and stuff. It's sort of got that sort of hippie side of being a
It's a
nomad.
good place to live outdoors, and of course you want to balance out your time on a computer, and therefore it's a great place to do that.
Yes, definitely. So traveling together, what has been your most rewarding traveling experience?
Great question.
do you mean like together or like separately?
Yeah, together.
Because I have so much fun when she's not around. Oh. She's giving me killer eyes right now. No, I personally like one of my favorite times with Beck was
Most
driving.
rewarding.
Oh, most rewarding. Yeah, that's an interesting question.
I
don't know,
like
like
really implies there's this like there's work behind it.
oh.
How about a time that you've really got to know each other in a certain situation?
We know each other.
Crashing a scooter.
Well,
that
that
count?
was fun.
We crashed our scooter because the only way to get around in Bali is to get a scooter, and it wasn't a bad crash. And like I'm really paranoid about like I didn't want Beck to get hurt or anything if I was driving, so I was being really careful. But still, like I just hit the driveway just incorrectly, basically, and crashed a scooter. That's a really quick way to learn about each other is have an accident together, and then
For sure.
Yeah, so I like to tell everyone that.
Panic.
Yeah, I'd like to tell everyone that she was panicking and I was holding her together, but it was actually me. I am not good with blood, and it wasn't bad. Like I just had some blood on my leg and stuff, and Beck had to like look after me.
Nice.
I was
lying
down in the shower, fully dressed, just trying to like figure out that I nearly.
I can't do anything.
Yeah, I'm like I nearly killed my girlfriend. And she's like, we just fell over in the driveway. And I'm like, and you nearly died.
At that angle, and it's like, nah, it was. Fine, but watching how someone deals with stress is definitely a good test,
and
I guess.
Yeah, and I'm the chill one in the relationship, but but when I crashed the scooter, I was not chill at all. I was very, very stressed.
Okay, so let's move on to this part. How about your most awkward, embarrassing, or hilarious travel experience together?
Together. Most awkward experience.
Or even separately if you have a really good story.
See, the problem, like we were thinking about this question, and we're like, it's funny for me because I don't get embarrassed very easily because I'm a loud, stupid Australian, so I just sort of don't really mind about anything too much.
Right? Yeah.
But Beck, and Beck's very safe, so she just keeps it all like well wrapped. I can't really think of anything that we've done that's been really stupid because we're both pretty smart travelers by this point.
Yeah, we've been going for a few years. So, yeah.
I'll tell you the dumbest thing I've ever done was I got home from being in Japan. I put my passport in my pocket and then I washed my pants with my passport in my pocket. and the passport one and a half years old. So that was just, I classify that as still one of the dumbest things I've ever done, is just be like, oh, I'm home now. I don't need to like worry about my passport. Just and just washed it in my head. I just ruined it.
I might be able to top that really kind of dumb kind of travel story.
Yeah.
Wait for it. So I was on a trip around South America, and you are told a lot when you go to South America, get your yellow fever, and you should definitely do that. And not only should you do that, but you should carry the certificate with you, which I wasn't doing, because I think I went Costa Rica, Colombia, Brazil, and I was going to go Brazil, Nicaragua through Panama. And Panama and Nicaragua are like there's only 4 countries in Central America that literally require it.
And it's so fun because I've been to all 4 of those countries, and I had mine and they never asked for it.
And it's such bad fortune if you get asked, and naturally I got asked, and it was like, a few hours before this flight, which was like a 3-leg flight. It was not cheap, and I was like, no, and there's no way they can kind of put you on, because like, it's bad.
You could kill people.
Yeah, that would be bad. Sure. Yeah, that was pretty.
So yeah, you had to rebook all your flights and everything. Hey, but that was to see me, so it was worth it in the end. That was before we were dating, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that was coming to see me. That's nice.
You went to Nicaragua. That was in Cuba.
No, yeah, but it was just before Cuba, though. Wasn't it? That connecting up?
That was a whole month before, I think.
Yeah, okay. Good times.
Okay,
yeah.
So we've kind of talked about a bad travel experience when you guys got into an accident with the scooter. So with all these experiences that you've had while traveling together, how do you feel traveling has affected your relationship?
So, okay, I'm gonna answer this.
Yeah, go, babe.
Normal relationship. Okay, I can't really speak that confidently about this because I haven't been in said situation a lot of times. But the way that it looks like it develops is that you go out on dates and you hang out, and then it gets to the point of like you stay at each other's houses, and it's a very natural progression there. Whereas with travel, it's like it's immediate. If you are kind of hanging out and in that stage, and then it's like, fuck, I want to hang out more, you then have to make the decision, okay, so shall we get an Airbnb together? And it's very like, it makes you get serious very fast. And if you're not serious about the other person, I think it doesn't really last very long.
It's kind of good in a way because it like forces you, well, if you really like them, it makes it easier to be together a lot.
Yeah.
Because you both like commit to the idea of traveling together and that sort of thing. But if you're like 50-50 about the relationship, or you want to take it slower, you can't. Like, you've either got to be invested or not. Yep. There's no like safe medium. I am madly in love, so I'm pretty happy to just dive straight in.
Good to know.
Beck was a lot more like,
I'm very
hesitant, which is good. I mean, that's exactly how most people should be. But I think she's okay with me now. Right?
You're all right.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Good.
You can
We're
stay.
okay. We're doing okay. Good.
Good.
Let's not break up on a podcast. That would be bad.
So when planning a trip, who's going to take care of what? Do you guys allocate tasks to one another or play to your strengths? How does that work?
Yeah. Because we both have traveled and we know that it needs to be organized. If it's not organized, it's...
Yeah, we're both very savvy. We both know what each other's likes and dislikes are, which is good too, because we've traveled a bit together now. But there's certain things, like if we're booking a car, I always book the car because I'm just better at reading terms and conditions and making sure we're not getting done there. But Beck usually books the accommodation because she usually likes little specific things when she's booking accommodation.
I know.
But even then, I book 25% of the accommodation too, so it's not all on you. We were talking tonight actually about food, because we love food. Like, food is, whenever we go anywhere, we're always looking for like good places to eat, whether it's local or Western. We just love food. So we were talking about that tonight, because Beck's really good at finding the area to go for food, like the suburb or street or town. But then we sort of both decide where we're going to go. So we'll go to one that she might know or found recommended. But then once we've been there, I'll drag her to like one that we've passed on the street that I like the look of. So it's sort of food. But we definitely know each other well enough now that it's sort of just and we send each other links, but I don't actually know how much we both look at each other's links. We usually just trust the other one a fair bit, I think. Or we giving her like a booking.com list.
And it's paying attention to what the other person wants as well. It's like, okay, so like you want to be near. So at the moment we're going to go to Sydney like in a few weeks, and there's a football game on. So I was in charge of accommodation, and I was like, I don't want to deal with traffic between the stadium and home. So we're staying like, I think a short walk away from the stadium. So,
yeah. So it's just little things. It's good. It's easy.
Yeah. Nice.
It's good that we're both savvy though, because it makes it easy.
Yeah. So, traveling together, a place that you've been to either together or separately, what do you feel is the best destination that you would recommend to a travel couple out there?
I automatically say straight away for this one is Cuba. It is romantic as all hell. It's absolutely beautiful place. If you are in a digital nomad couple, the reason I recommend it is because you can't use Wi-Fi anywhere.
Yep.
So it's an actual holiday destination. You can't work there really at all. I would never recommend anyone go and try and work in Cuba unless you can work offline. Because of that, it was awesome because Beck works with social media and that sort of stuff. So she's always sort of glancing at her phone and everything. And that's not a terrible thing. Like she's still really good at like giving me time and stuff. But in Cuba, I found that we were both just able to be with each other properly all the time without like phone interrupting or thinking about work because it was an actual holiday.
That can certainly be applied to other places we've gone as well. So we went to Sardinia in Italy, which is like an island off Italy, not great reception. And we've been on a road trip through the Scottish Highlands. Again, reception is not strong. So that's a real important factor in finding a good place.
Yeah, so for a couple, I think if you're trying to spend like quality like couple time together, basically look for no Wi-Fi and it just makes it more magical and special and romantic. If you want to work together though, then we could give you a list as long as our bodies of places you could go and work and still get to hang out. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely Cuba is up there for us too. That's a amazing place. So closing out this part of the podcast, do you have any more advice you'd like to give couple travelers out there?
Give each other space.
Definitely agree with that. And this is like, the struggle is real with this one, you know, because you're together all the time, and even when you're together, it's not necessarily like the way you want to be together, you know, like
high quality time together, and then you assume that you're spending all your time together, even though it's not like dedicated time. Right?
Yeah, it's different. Like, so we still make sure that we go on like little date nights and stuff, even though we like doing everything together. Like we work together, I drop her at gym, I pick her up from coffee shops, we like sleep and everything together, but we still make sure that we go out and do like proper date nights. And then on the flip side of that as well is I make sure that like Beck's really good at telling me, hey, I just need my own space, and I'm like, cool. So I'll just go and like drop her at a coffee shop that she really wants to work at, and I'll just leave her there for like 4 or 5 hours, and she'll just message me when she wants to be picked up. Or
I sound like a child.
I'm your go livo driver. But yeah, no, it's just about being really like honest about that. You know, like I'll tell her if I'm feeling like unloved because I'm the needy one in the relationship, and she'll like give me some more love when she's ready. But she'll also tell me if she needs a little more space, and I'll happily like give her some space. Or give her the, so she can have the room for the day. I'll just go occupy myself. Or
that's it. It's just being respectful
honesty,
of the other person.
A little bit of communication goes a long way.
Definitely,
that's all couples.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So this next part, we want to focus on actionable advice on how couples can travel the world. So as we all know, travel can be really expensive, and you do need to kind of bring in some money in some way to fund those travels. And you guys both have your own ways of doing that. So let's just get into a little bit of being a digital nomad. How can one go out there and try to find work as a digital nomad?
Okay, this has got to be one of the most commonly asked questions. Like the first thing that I say to people when people ask that is go and find something that you absolutely love, that you really enjoy doing, and see how or whether you can make that remote. I know that's not like the quick, easy fix that people want to hear,
but
but
it's the truth.
I think it's the most sustainable, option. If you're becoming a developer because you've been told that you can do that remotely and it will make you some money down the line, maybe it'll go well, but maybe you won't enjoy it at all. You won't be good at it, and it won't be something that you can actually follow through with. And it's just.
And then so for me, I'm a very social person. So for trying to find some work that I can take with me was really hard for me. So my recommendation is to do things. If you're trying to pick up something new, do the easy courses where you find course discounts from Groupon or Udemy. I can't highlight those. Udemy's a great source for being able to try something out before actually committing to actual, degrees and certificates. You can just do a 6-week course, see if you actually like it. And if you do, great. Then then you can pursue that more and turn that into your digital nomad. So I actually did a web development course, loved it, could not see myself doing it in Bali. So then I did my teaching English to foreign languages course. Didn't love it, but I got a job recently teaching kids in Beijing, and I absolutely love it. It's great. It's just about making sure you know what you do really love doing and trying to incorporate that in some way. And then so then I just use my spare time for photography and trying to chase that down, and just sort of little bits and bobs. So doing whatever you can, really. You write as well. She writes a lot too.
Yeah. So I do a few things. I currently, my official title is head of community at a co-living space. We've got a bunch of different co-living spaces around the world. It's called outside.co. And then on the side of that, I actually do freelance writing as well. So as with a lot of remote workers, I think there's never usually just one source of income. People do like to diversify because it gives you more stability to know that you're not relying on one source. You have multiple streams coming in.
And that's cool too.
Definitely.
To let people know that you've been earning money for a long time now while traveling. I am yet to actually get my first paycheck from a remote job. So I can get my first paycheck in 2 weeks. So for me, it's all really new, which is why I'm trying to get photography into something and do those other little side projects, which might turn into something, and maybe they won't, but it's all new and exciting for me. So I'm very
That's a really useful thing to include, though, for anyone who's just about to do this. So you weren't remote before,
no,
but now you're giving this a go, and before that, you just saved up money and your normal.
Yeah, it was just hospitality and stuff. Yeah, I did the 9-to-5 office job, hated it. Actually went to hospitality after that, and just saved money and worked my butt off, did 50, 60-hour weeks, saving money so I could then just travel and leave again. Yeah. A bit crazy now I look back at it, but it was good. Loved it.
And definitely, these are great pieces of advice, because so many people are at different points in their lives. You could be working a 9-to-5 and trying to save up that money to go on that next trip, or trying to find time to incorporate traveling more into your lifestyle, or you could be trying to look for that digital nomad job. So you guys just dropped a lot of great advice there. I want to just go into each of your scenarios here and talk a little bit more about what you're doing. So Dan, you said that you're teaching English online right now. Can you explain how you got that job? How can our listeners go about that if that's what they want to do?
Okay, so teaching English online is it's really common. There's heaps of companies through China, Korea, Japan, even in the Philippines, basically a lot of Asia that need English teachers. And to solve the problem of having people in the ground, they do a lot of hiring of anyone who is a natural English speaker. So Canadian, American, Australian, and English, or UK are the top ones, or New Zealand as well, sorry. And you need a TEFL certificate first of all. Now, I actually got my TEFL certificate online. There's heaps that offer a TEFL certificate, so just make sure you do your research on the company first to make sure that it's a legitimate certificate. Usually you need to do about 120 hours minimum, which is how long the course is. And then once you get your certificate, so it actually only took me about 8 weeks to do that course, less than, because I worked my butt off. I just smashed it out as quickly as I could.
You were great with time management during that time, though, because I remember you would schedule out your days and you would allocate the days that you would actually go and do this course.
Yeah, that's when I was doing. So I was working 50 hours in a bar, then I was coming home and doing on my 1 day off a week. I usually had 1 day off a week. I would make sure I was doing like 4 to 8 hours a week of this course, to just make sure I was trying to get it out. And then once I got the certificate, I just contacted. The good thing is Facebook now, and other social media sites. Like if you type in TEFL teachers or TEFL teachers or teaching English to foreign languages online, there's a heap of groups on Facebook, and they'll always post on about jobs, and they'll post about opportunities and that sort of stuff. So I actually just joined a couple of those groups before I even got a job, and found some companies that were hiring. And then you just do the good old thing and you send through your application. Because it's all online, usually you need to send a video as well, just so they can see what you look like, so they can hear that you're English, that sort of stuff. Another good website is called HiOffer, so HIOFFER.com, I'm assuming. But they basically just they post jobs for people who want to teach English to foreign languages. And yeah, so I applied, got a job, got an interview, had to go through a really long interview process. And then, they approved it, got the job. So I'm doing not many hours. I think it's a little under 10 hours at the moment with this job, which is good. But because I've just started, if I'm really comfortable next month doing it, then I'll up the hours probably to 15, 20 hours. And then, things will be a bit more steady. But yeah, so it's just like any other job, it's just the difference is it's all done via Facebook groups and online. And, like I went and bought a microphone. So I've got a little microphone and just got a little setup done properly instead of buying. But it's so good though, because I now, when I was doing my interview, I was wearing a business shirt with footy shorts and no shoes, in Bali, like where else are you going to do that? It's just absolutely crazy, but it's great.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's great advice, and it is such a great way to earn some money, especially when you're on the road. All you need is a secure internet connection, I guess, and you're off to the races. Yeah. Yeah,
exactly right. Okay. You get that secure internet connection, and just make sure it all works and runs properly. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I had to have, but there really wasn't. It's just about looking neat, because they're Asian companies. Usually, they really like you to have like a good a professional looking appearance. So I just make sure that I shave. I'm not clean shaven, but I just make sure like my beard's nice and neat, that my hair's pulled back, I was smart enough to pack an actual proper business shirt. So with all my singlets and footy shorts and board shorts, I have one business shirt, which is very handy.
To have.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so then Rebecca, you talked about being the head of community management.
Yeah, that's right.
Can you explain to our listeners what exactly that is?
So, community for Outsight means managing the members. So, Outsight is a network of co-living spaces, and these are houses around California, Hawaii, Costa Rica, Bali, New York. And kind of the core part of Outsight is becoming a member. And once you're a member, you get these huge discounts across all the properties, perks on our partners, and access to our community Slack channel as well. And of course, someone needs to kind of manage all that, and I am that person. So I kind of manage, like the events, the Slack channel, of course, and we have community managers in each location as well. So say, for example, if you go to Hawaii, I won't be there, but we've got Trini, and she runs the community there, and she kind of manages the house, runs like cool little events. They all went on a hike last week, and so I manage that. And I also manage the marketing for Outside as well. So that means the social media, blog, email, PR and press. So that's kind of what that encompasses.
Awesome. And then for somebody that wants to jump into a similar role, or even any type of online digital nomad job, how would you recommend them going about doing that?
Get relevant experience.
Your job was like through networking a lot. Like it's because of like who you'd met along the way. So for you, almost the most important part was starting. Like
it was yeah, networking, but also I had for co-working and co-living in particular, it's such a small like niche right now. And so if you're someone that's creating in that area, so for example, I'd run these co-working retreats for about 2 years, and the company I'm working with now, they'd known this. They knew that I'd run co-working retreats in Mexico, Costa Rica, Budapest, Portugal.
And that was for a small startup too. That wasn't for like a big business, which means
which means like there's no.
It was off our own back. It
money.
wasn't through anyone else.
Yeah, you're doing that just because you want to, and if people can see that you're doing that because you want to, it's not necessarily for any other reason. It's like, okay, this person is super passionate about this, and they're actually good at it as well. So that was the other kind of reason I got this role, is because people trusted me and they knew my work was good. And so, yeah, that's kind of how that came about. But honestly, it's just getting relevant experience, which seems very common sense knowledge for any kind of role.
But see, the thing is too, like when you come to places like where we are right now in Chengdu, you meet so many people that are building things, and they need people like what Beck's experience has to offer. And so I've met so many people already, and I feel like in 6 months' time, I'm hopefully will have like a bit more of a skill set that I can then add as well. And then maybe my job will be half teaching English online and then half like doing some sort of work similar to what Beck does in these co-working spaces and stuff as well. But it's just because I'm here that I'm meeting the people, and those opportunities just seem to come up all the time by themselves. You constantly meet people who are like, oh yeah, I met this person 6 months ago in Medellin, and they were talking about this app they were building, and now they want to hire me to do this part of it and stuff. It's great.
Yeah, networking is so important. That's awesome advice. So I just want to talk a little bit about community management in general, because I feel like every business should have some sort of community management, and especially if you are in, like we were talking about before, a travel blogging world, or in just starting your own business online. What is one piece of advice, the most important thing people should know about community management within their business?
Great question.
No, it was a good question.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to think of advice that's really applicable to anyone who's starting a business in community. If your community is like that much, I'm trying to make it applicable.
I mean, communication comes to mind for me, but I mean, that's a bit of a cop-out because every good business needs good communication. But
if you're trying to provide value to a community, like hopefully your community that you have with your business, find out exactly what it is they want, I guess, and it's being able to provide that value to them again and again and again, and showing that you can improve and listen to what they say, and then genuinely just start to understand what they want before they know that they want that, and start providing it. And then I think the business kind of comes alongside that, because if you're able to provide the value to people and they're like, yeah, this is absolutely what I needed, and that's because you're working so closely with a community, then that should hopefully be working well for your business. Like,
I couldn't agree anymore. Providing that value is number one for sure. So for the two of you, what's next? Are you guys well, I'll just keep it at that. What's next for Dan and Rebecca?
Well, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but we're actually starting a podcast as well. So we've recorded our first three episodes while we've been in Bali, and we're recording another 2 more next week and the week after before we leave. And ours is just a bit of a light-hearted look at what it is to be a nomad.
Yeah.
And we're just going to try and give a very real-world look at it in terms of that Beck's got solid foundations and solid experience, and I've got a very happy-go-lucky look at the whole concept, and I'm just coming into it, so I get to play as sort of the dumb scoundrel while she gets to tell me what's actually going on. But and then on top of that, so I'm also working on my own photography website at the moment. So that's getting to its later stages of getting sort of launched. So I've been applying with local businesses and stuff to try and like build up my portfolio. And then what else am I doing at the moment? Is that it? There's something else, isn't there? I can't even remember what it is now.
Photography.
No, that's
English.
it. That'll do.
Yeah.
Yeah, teaching English, photography, and a podcast. It's actually takes up a lot more of your time than you can imagine.
Oh, for sure.
But that's what's next for me, I guess. And for us, it's the podcast, and then moving to Lisbon.
Yeah,
and
so
just setting up for the first time.
With Outside, we've actually just launched a new co-living space in the centre of Lisbon, and yeah, it's going to be so much fun to launch it, but of course, as with everything, there will be a lot of work behind it. So just super excited to kind of start that and move back over to Portugal. It's a really, really cool country.
Lisbon's like one of her favourite cities in the world, and she's so stoked. And it's rubbed off on me a lot now because I'm super excited now as well.
Yeah,
it is so beautiful, for sure. So, what's the podcast going to be called?
Oh, it's Another Bloody Nomad.
Awesome.
Yeah, or ABN for short. So we're hopefully going to be releasing that in April. So that should come out with its first 4 or 5 episodes.
That'll be next week, actually. Yeah.
It will be next. Shit.
That is awesome. That is excellent.
So no, definitely will. And we're not doing interviews. It's more of just a discussion on a topic, but we're going to do an interview sort of once a month. Just to get a guest, more of a guest host as opposed to an interview. They just come in and talk about a topic with us, and it's just a bit of fun, and it's So definitely, if people want another podcast to listen to, we're going to give yours a plug as well. I think this will pop up on our next show, actually.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Definitely. We'll talk about how we were.
We were interviewed for a podcast.
Yeah, we were interviewed for a podcast, and we got to talk about our podcast. Now, just out of goodwill, we're going to mention his podcast. It's podcast sharing the love.
Do you want to say the word podcast again?
Yeah, podcast.
Well, that is awesome, guys. I'll be really looking forward to listening to that podcast. That'll be lots of fun. You guys are excellent conversationists, and I'm sure that podcast is just going to catch on, no problem.
Thank you very much, mate.
Yeah, well, there you have it. Dan and Rebecca sharing their travel stories with you today on the To the Nations Worldwide Travel Couple podcast. I want to say a very special thank you to our guests. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me.
Thank you so much, Mike, for having us, man. It was good fun. Really enjoyed it.
So I just want to give this time to you one last time to plug anything else you want to say and just leave our listeners with anything.
If you want to come say hello on Instagram, that's kind of my main platform, I guess, outside of work. It's rebecca.georgia, so REBECCA.GEORGIA. Why are you looking at me?
I just loved how you spelt that. There was such a wind.
There are multiple ways to spell my name.
And for me, my photography website should be up and going strong, and my Instagram tag is also the same, which is DVL Portfolio. Nice and easy. And as I said, the podcast is just going to be called Another Bloody Nomad. And as I said, guys, it'll just be a nice light-hearted bit of fun. So feel free to jump on and have a listen and tell us how good or bad we're doing.
Thank you to all of our listeners out there to the nations worldwide. We cannot express our appreciation enough for having you listen to this podcast. Visit us at travelcouplepodcast.com/15 for this episode's show notes. Leave a comment on the page. We'll be sure to get back to you. And if you'd be so kind, please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. We'll make sure to consistently deliver you these podcast episodes. This is Mike Pletz and
Natalie.
Hoping you have a wonderful adventure out there to the nations worldwide.